Well, ladies and gentlemen, for the last 30 minutes, retired Lieutenant General Hamid Gul has been our guest, former head of Pakistani intelligence. The Washington Post wrote, if the documents are to be believed, and the uncorroborated U.S. intelligence reports must be read with caution, so they add that this is just battlefield reports fed by contractors. Gul has taken a direct hand in quarterbacking attacks against U.S.-led forces in Afghanistan. Gul calls the reports fiction and nothing else. So this is a guy, from what I've seen, who's told the truth. I mean, I don't trust anybody except my wife and children and God. But I just go off long-term study, long-term looking at geopolitical systems, the British model of the great game that our country's adopted, how we're being used. I mean, for 5 years, U.S. troops and contractors have been sneaking around in Afghanistan, 9 years there, in Pakistan. And now they came out 3 weeks ago and admitted, okay, we lied to you. We got contractors and troops there. And, Gul said 2 years ago on this show they were there to stir up the tribal areas to destabilize Pakistan. And now that's admitted. I mean, these global corporations that suck us dry with these wars, they have a motive to expand these wars. So this is a short segment, General, but brief answers on this. Finishing up on Israel and the U.S. being used as a tool that you were talking about there. And then how can we get out of there on friendly terms with the Pakistan's folks and with the Afghans? And versus how it will end if we don't pull out?
Well, let me tell you that there is everything to be gained by pulling out, and there is everything to be lost by continuing to stay here. So that's my judgment, and I'm quite convinced that this is right. Now, by pulling out, you are going to, because there is a natural affinity between America and Pakistan and America and even Afghanistan, because, they have cooperated in the past throughout. We have a long history of cooperation. When India was in the USSR camp, Pakistan was all along and Afghanistan too was in the American camp. Afghanistan made a mistake of being in the USSR camp, and USSR came and attacked it at that time. And of course they resisted. And Pakistan stood behind them. America stood behind them also, and they don't forget that. So if you pull out, and that is very simple, you have to have a change of heart. And I have given that message clearly. I said I am prepared to come discuss with you, face the court, go for a hearing before the Senate or the Congress, whatever you want me to do, I am prepared. If I am a terrorist, if I am quarterbacking, as you rightly said, this attacks in Afghanistan, then you can catch me. I mean, here is a terrorist who is offering himself. He says, okay, catch me, hold me responsible, take me anywhere, to Congress, Senate, to any court, to any interrogation center. I'm prepared for all this. They are lying. I tell you, they are lying to the American people more than anyone else. And if they have a change of heart, we will find ways and means when they can pull out safely. They will not be followed. Now, the speech that President Obama made on 8th of May 2009 in Cairo, addressing the Al-Azhar University, I think that was remarkable, because in this he had said, if there is no chance of attack or there is no threat of attack from that region to America, then in that case we are prepared to pull out every single troop from that region. And I at that time also on some of the TV channels, I said that this is a legitimate demand. Okay, we accept this, that there should be no attack on America from this area.
General, stay there.
No harm has ever been found in the past also. And that automatically means that the responsibility will be on the new government, which will be installed in Afghanistan, to make sure that there is no threat to American interest.
General, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We've got to go to break. Come back and repeat that thought and finish it up. We'll be right back with General Hamid Gul. Well, we've been talking to Lieutenant General Hamid Gul about a host of really important issues, and he's joining us from Pakistan. Last time we had him on, the regular phone number was being blocked, and we were having trouble getting through on the other line. and it looks like we may be having some phone troubles now. We may try to reconnect with him in a moment. General, do we have you? Now, again, I have researched all of this information in depth, and we've had the former CIA commander for the entire Afghan war on, who wrote the book Jawbreaker, and he admitted that they would pick up 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids and would send them to Guantanamo Bay as terrorists, knowing they were totally innocent, just to create this illusion. It's a manufactured war as a pretext to feed our troops into a meat grinder as a giant laboratory of control. And that's the bottom line of what's been going on here. Going back to General Hamid Gul, General, I have looked at all of the information concerned here, and clearly the Pentagon plan is to expand the war into Pakistan. They now admit that U.S. forces and contractors are there illegally. Congress had been lied to about this. Where is all this leading, and what are the Western forces doing in Pakistan?
Well, they are on sabotage, subversion mission, and inciting people to rise against the central government of Pakistan. So they are on destabilizing exercise, not realizing that this is going to hurt them more than it is going to hurt us, because we are in any case suffering. There is a spate of flood at the moment we are facing in Pakistan. It's a great human tragedy that we are in the middle of it. And on top of it, our friends America and their allies, some of their allies, and India, they are in collusion to bash Pakistan and to really unravel it from inside. Now, this is very unfair, and I don't think they will be able to do it at the end of the day. I think if they get embroiled in Pakistan, then they will keep on staying here for a very long time. And I don't think the American people have a heart for it. I think 60% of Americans are now already against this war. And if they're going to expand this war, because I know one thing, the irregular fight that is going to be put up to Americans, whether in Pakistan, Afghanistan, or Iran, now the larger the area of conflict, and longer the period of conflict, the established power, the one who is equipped with more firepower, cannot win. This is a lesson from history, and it is immutable. Because if they enlarge the area of conflict, then they will get more embroiled into some of the very difficult things which they can't foresee at this moment. So I think it is professionally very, very unwise for America to get involved into a conflict inside Pakistan.
General Gul, where is this leading if the United States doesn't pull out? I mean, clearly our government, controlled by these offshore corporate interests, wants to expand this into Pakistan with this destabilization. From your research, how many contractors are sneaking around in your country versus regular U.S. forces?
Well, I think the security contractors at this moment, they are trying to spread their wings into Balochistan area. And Americans have been granted permission, it is understood, to open, because they arm twist us, our government and our leaders, very conveniently, and they are going to open a consulate in Quetta. And I think it will have two purposes. One, to continue to fan the ongoing insurgency, which is artificially being sponsored in Balochistan, which is largest of our provinces, because of its very huge size and because of its borders with Makaran coast. The coastal line mostly is covered by this province, and it's a long border with Iran. It is about 900 kilometers long border that we share with Iran. So it has twin purpose: A, to destabilize Pakistan, and B, to get inside Iran and try to destabilize them, because those areas are Sunni populated and they are definitely trying to create a problem for Iran from that point. So really, at this moment, I would put the figure of the security contractors to less than 5,000. I don't think they are more than this number. And they're are trying to expand because very recently 650 visas were issued to American servicemen, and they come in CVs. This is very unfortunate that servicemen traditionally should be used in uniform. But when you start using them in civilian clothes, this is not their job. A soldier is brought in bred, and he is taught, his training is to fight cleanly on the battlefield.
So they're trying to turn them into
the work of undercover agents.
Exactly, they're trying to turn them into covert spies, so they can't be differentiated between them, regular troops, and the different contractors. Speaking of Iran, General Gul, we continue to hear over and over again that Iran is funding insurgency in Pakistan and Afghanistan, and many analysts, even here in the West, even many people in the CIA say that that's asinine, that's a lie. What's the truth there?
Oh, it's an utter lie. Believe you me, Iran is not doing anything of this nature, but they would have us believe that Iran is our enemy. They are not our enemies. There has been no hostility between Iran and Pakistan. That border is quiet. There is absolutely peaceful movement of goods and people on that border. So this is an utter lie. It's only to malign Iran. But I tell you, Israel is hell-bent to draw America into a wider war by attacking Iran. If they go in for unilaterally to attack some target, even drop a few bombs here and there, I think it will flare up a conflict that they will not be able to control. And America is likely to get sucked into this war. And this may turn out to be the Third World War. It will be a disaster of the first order. I think it must be avoided at all cost.
Well, General Gul, it's not just you, a formidable intelligence and military expert who's worked at every level, from ground commander up to major general, right through here. But dealing with this, the word that I get from Ray McGovern, high-level CIA analyst, retired, and others, is that they're looking at green-lighting it this month. They may attack, Israel may attack in the next 15 days or even sooner. We are on the edge of what most, even Western analysts say, and the Russians agree, could lead to World War III.
Yes, I agree with you. I said that independently. I didn't have this information that you have, but all the same, I think my calculation as a strategist and as an intelligence expert is that this would be a disaster. I don't think that Russia can be kept back, or China for that matter. I don't know which all other countries will get sucked into this imbroglio, and this will be an inferno that will consume so many things. And corporate America would be the biggest sufferer. They don't realize this, because if it results eventually in destabilization of the entire region, where are they going to sell their goods, and how are they going to pick up the oil? And especially the European countries will be the biggest sufferers, and Japanese economy will collapse. So many things will happen. You can't simply, it's incalculable at this time.